You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you so much for talking to me though today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, how are you? How's lockdown?
Oh, I'm bored. I'm so bored.
I
Are
think it's
you?
harder than the second one, the first one.
Yeah, do you know the first one? I kind of liked it. I liked having loads of time for myself. It was summer. I did the house up, did loads of fun stuff. I was like, oh, I don't really mind this. But now, like, the weather has been rubbish and just like not having anything to look forward to, like holidays and stuff. That's what I miss so much.
I even book a holiday just in case, and like you could book a holiday for the month after or something, and now it's like all up in the air.
I know it's horrible, isn't it? It's just like everything's been cancelled, like friends' weddings, like hen parties, everything. It's just like there's just nothing to look forward to at the minute. So I hope it'll get lifted soon because I'm just bored.
I
I
know,
want to go to my house.
same. Like I'm just hoping on Monday he comes out and there's some good news.
Yeah, me too.
So hopefully we can go on holiday.
Yeah, that's the dream,
Thank
isn't
the
it?
family.
Yeah.
So to everyone, kind of introduce yourself.
I'm Charlotte Miskell and I'm an actress represented by Sue at Opaque Artists.
Lovely. So I'm just going to talk about your earlier life, like just go back a couple of years. And
Okay.
did you kind of grow up wanting to become an actress?
Yeah, it's weird. I think I did. My mum always used to take me to the theatre when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so I think that's where it started. I just loved the theatre. I loved going. I still love going now. It's just stayed with me. And I always loved comedies, going to watch things that made me laugh.
Yeah.
I just used to think, oh, I'd love to be up there making people laugh. That'd be like the dream. And I think it went from there. But I wasn't brought up um kind of like pushed to do it, or I wasn't sent to like a drama school or anything like that. It was just like, oh, she likes to dress up in front of the family and put little plays on. That was about all it was.
That's great. At least you weren't kind of pushed to do it, because sometimes if you're pushed, you're kind of like, you
Yeah,
lose the fun of it, I suppose, and just,
yeah.
yeah. So kind of what was the first theatre show you remember going to see?
One that stands out, I remember seeing Phantom of the Opera at Oldham Coliseum with my mum. I remember watching that and I was like, wow, that was like the first big one.
Yeah.
So I would have been at primary school then, but I used to go to loads of local ones, like the local. I lived in a little town in Yorkshire, and it used to like the Todmorden Players, and they'd put on little plays, and I used to go and watch all the little local ones as well. And the pantomime every year on a Sunday. Did you used to do it as a kid? We used to go every Boxing Day. Yeah, we used to go. I loved it.
I used to love that. I want to go back. Really.
Oh, and I used to love all the like they used to have all like celebrities, and I remember like Wolfman from Gladiators. I might be a bit old for you now. He was like that was like an amazing one. It's like Wolfman's in it. Like I used to just love going to pantomime every year.
It's so fun, and like the audience is always like engaging with it too. So
Yeah, I've
super.
just loved it.
It's like Christmassy, and I love it.
Yeah, same.
So kind of like we obviously spoke about your parents. Did they
Yeah.
encourage you to become an actress, or were they like bit hit and miss?
To be honest, we've always just been like just supported in whatever we've done as like kid. I'm one of four, so I've got three brothers, and we've always just kind of been left to it. Yeah, we were never like brought up strict or anything like that. But always just supportive in whatever we've done. We've all done totally different things. So yeah, so I think I was in my first pantomime in like year 7 or 8 at high school. Like I was in like the chorus. I think that
Yeah,
was the first thing I was ever in like Puss in Boots. And yeah, when I was in high school, I just joined a little theatre group, after school.
yeah,
Um, and that was just pretty much it. I just did it for fun until then, like college, I picked it as options. And that was when I was like, oh, do you know what? That's the only thing I want to do. I don't want to do anything academic. I was a creative. I
yeah.
hated anything like maths and yeah, I hated it. I was like, get me out of here.
I hated maths. Maths was the worst subject to ever do if you were creative.
I failed it 3 times, maths GCSE 3 times because
I
he made
still
me
had
high
maths.
school and college. Yeah, and I would just failed every time. I was like, please stop. It's
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
it's just so hard. Like I don't understand why we need the algebra and the measurements and No.
Okay.
So growing up, who inspired you to want to become an actress? Was there any, like, did you watch any soaps and think, you know, she was my inspiration? Or who?
Yeah, I think I grew up with like Julia Walters and Victoria Wood. You know, like sketch shows at the time. So like I love Victoria Wood. So I used to watch stuff like that, Dinner Ladies,
Yeah.
and any kind of like comedy sketch show. I think like in the 90s when I was growing up, there was loads of that kind of comedy on TV. And that was what was really funny. And then like Ab Fab and stuff. And
Yes. Oh my god.
you know, like all them really funny women. And I just loved it. And then like film stars, I loved Goldie Hawn. Like I was obsessed with her. And then her daughter Kate, obviously when she came onto the scene later. So I've always just like loved really funny women and
Yeah.
northern women as well.
Oh
So,
yeah, obviously. Northern.
I think that was my biggest inspiration, really. Just like, yeah, just from watching things on TV like that with my family.
Oh, that's lovely. So actually growing up in Yorkshire, was there many like opportunities for you to go into acting?
No, not really. So I was in Yorkshire when I was younger, then like Lancashire at high school, and that was when I joined a little theatre group. There's a bit more going on there. But I was a good hour away from Manchester. That was like my nearest city, so it was kind of small town.
Yeah.
So I think had I lived more in a city, it probably would have been more like, oh, go into a theatre school, all those loads of opportunities. But it just wasn't really like that. I just grew up being a normal kid and just did it for fun, really. So I don't think I really took it more seriously until sort of university time when I was like, oh, actually, there's a big world out there.
Bigger town than Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So when did you realise you actually had a talent for acting?
Do you know what's so funny? I know what my mum would have said. When I was in my first nativity, I was, you know, the lonely soul that Jesus followed.
Yes.
And then I was in like a cardboard cutout star shape, and I had to walk on the stage on my beginning and go like that and pretend to cry because I was lonely. Star. And my mum thought I was really crying, and she thought, "Oh my god, she's crying!" And I was like, "I'm acting," and I was only about 4 or 5. But I don't know really. I just did it for fun. I'd say college was when I'd picked it as options, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is just what I want to do every day. I love it." And my teachers were really supportive, and I got the highest grade in my practical theatre exam, and I always like just didn't have confidence. I just would never have like placed myself anywhere. And then I got an award like at the end of like college for it, and I was like, oh my god, like I've never won anything. And I was like, I'm actually good at something, because I didn't particularly do well in my GCSEs or anything like that. So that was probably the first thing I ever won, and thought, oh wow, this is really good and I enjoy it. So because sport was not my thing either. So yeah.
So obviously you went to university. What university did you go to, and why did you get picked in that?
I knew I wanted to be. I got into, I think, one in York, and I got into Salford, and I think another one. But Salford University, like anyone will tell you this who's been there, as soon as you go, you want to go there. Like, it was this big old-fashioned building that almost looked like a factory.
Okay.
Like, oh my god, it was like crumbling, and you walked in and all you could hear was like people singing and music, and people were like, it was like fame. It was amazing when you walked in. You were like, oh my god, it was like this big old building just full of character, and like you just got goosebumps when you walked in. It was just amazing. And I think like Peter Kay went there, and like Christopher Eccleston, like loads of really good actors went there, so it had a really good name for itself. And I just loved it. It was right in Manchester, which is just my favourite city. Yeah, they were just like the best years, I think, uni. I loved it.
How long did you go to uni for?
3 years. So I got a BA honours in performing arts.
That's correct. That's so amazing, honestly. So, like, do you think that people who want to go in the acting industry should go to university?
I think it's definitely something I would steer towards again, because I think the amount of training that you do and the people you meet and the things you get to, you just would not get in real life. So going to like an acting class once a week for 2 hours, I was full time at uni like 9 to 5 every day. Yeah, it was like full time. So the stuff you learn and you do, you'd never get that much time. And you know, in real life, it wouldn't happen. So that's why it was the best years, because every day you were going in with loads of creative people, having loads of fun, making stuff, learning loads of new things. So I would definitely advise it. I just think for learning so many different things that you might not have considered to look at, because you do things like radio, presenting, theatre, singing, voice, movement, acting, everything.
Wow.
Like, yeah, everything out of your comfort zone as well. Like, singing is not my thing, and I used to get so nervous. I'd take calms before the classes. I'm like, I don't want to go, but it made me do it. So I think it makes you more confident as well, and just trying different things. So I would definitely advise it, definitely, yeah. But I mean, some people are just lucky, they've got a raw talent, they get spotted, and they don't always have to do it. But for an experience, I loved it.
Yeah. So what made you, when you were at college and you were like sorting all your stuff out, what made you decide, actually, I want to go to uni?
I think I'd always wanted to, I actually loved education when I was doing what I wanted to do. I loved it. When I was at school, I really enjoyed school. When I was doing the lessons that I liked, when I went to college, I enjoyed it even more. When I went to uni, I loved it even more. So I think I've always actually liked being around young people, creatives, education. I didn't really want to go and work in like an office at 18. I knew I'd be bored out of my mind, whereas this was something that just naturally was something that I just knew I wanted to do.
Okay, that's good, because obviously some people, I think they leave school and they're like, I don't actually know what I want to do, so they end up doing anything.
Yeah,
It's just hard.
it's so hard. I think it's good now that there's more options with like apprenticeships and lots of different things, isn't it?
Yes.
Rather than just like you either work or uni, there's more options now, which is really good for different people.
Apprenticeships are so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what kind of acting work did you do at university?
So actually on the course, or
On the course,
yeah,
and like any shows maybe that you've done?
yeah. Oh God, we did loads. So as part of the course, we'd cover everything from like radio acting. So like when you listen to radio plays, ever like BBC Radio 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that, to theatre, to TV acting, TV presenting,
Yeah.
singing, dancing, accents, voice, everything. And then you'd put on different performances and plays. So depending on kind of what module you're on, you might put a pantomime on, then you might put a play on, or a musical, or whatever it is. It was so good. I loved it.
Wow. So how did you balance, this is really hard for some uni students because my friends go to uni, how did you balance like work life and like personal normal life?
Yeah, I think the first year was the hardest because we were in full time every day doing every single subject. Then second year we got given a bit more free time, and then third year you kind of left on your own, and it's quite scary because you've got to manage your own time and do it all like that. But I think because you're only there for 3 years, I would just throw yourself into uni. Like that's what I'd advise anyone. Like at the end of the day, stuff with your friends, nights out, all that. You can do it when you finish uni at 21 still. I would just make the most of all that money you're spending on your education. And I would just like concentrate on uni for 3 years. Like obviously I had fun and I had parties and went on holidays and all that, but I just like focused on the acting. That I just loved it, and that's what it wasn't like a chore for me. It was like early mornings and annoying sometimes and stuff, but when you enjoy it, you don't mind, do you?
Fine, like you don't look at it as you've got to do it, it's like I want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So did you have an actual like part-time job, and how did you kind of keep up with the rent and stuff like that?
So for my first year, I lived at uni. I've always worked from like being a kid. So I like did Avon when I was about 12. I was too young. I put it in my mum's name just because I wanted to earn money. I walked or babysat and stuff. So when I was at uni, I had loads of different jobs. I mostly did retail. I'd work at like Next, New Look. I'd do them kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the summer holidays, I used to do temp office work for like the NHS and stuff. So I just do like a temp contract for like 4 weeks at Easter or 6 weeks at summer just to get extra money. Because in my second and third year, I had a boyfriend at the time and I lived with him and I commuted in then. So I had to like then pay for like driving. I needed to learn to drive and get a car and everything like that. So yeah, I just work all the time, but I love working. I always like to be busy.
Yeah.
Like, this is why lockdown's so hard. I'm like, I want to be busy. I hate it.
Okay. Did you meet your current boyfriend at university?
No, that was my first one. No, my current boyfriend now I actually met on a bus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so random. So I actually met him maybe 7, 8 years ago, but we've been together for about 5 years. But I was going down to London, and it was when one of the Olympics were on, and you just couldn't get a train from Manchester to London. They were all booked. So I ended up getting on one of the bloody mega buses at like £1 to probably take about 8 hours. And I saw this really good looking guy, and I was like, flipping heck, who is he? And we just started chatting like the whole way down to London, and then he carried my bags on the underground and asked my number. I know, it was so cute because I've been single ages. I know, so we met on a bus.
I'm going to try and take more buses now.
I know, everyone's like that. They're like, I go out every weekend and you met someone on a bus. I was like, oh, believe me, I've been trying to meet someone for about 3 or 4 years, going out all the time, and then I meet a random guy on a bus. But that's just typical, isn't it?
It is when you're not looking. It's just like,
yeah.
Is he in the industry, and is he supportive of you in the industry?
He's so supportive, it's amazing. But no, he is in banking, so he's totally different to me.
Polar opposites.
Yeah, which I think kind of works. But he's really good. He'll help me like practice lines, or when I've got Zoom auditions, he'll read in the other part and stuff. So he's really good.
That's amazing. Wow, that's so good to hear, and especially in lockdown. Like if you need a few lines and stuff, that's yeah. So I know obviously you created your couple of businesses. So Contour Cosmetics, Nico Pro,
Nico,
and Sweetheart Marketing. What made you to start a business rather than going into the acting industry, or did you do that both together?
So what happened was I left uni at like 21, and I think I started my first company when I was about 24, 25. So I kind of did about 3 years where I would juggle doing kind of temp office work, so then I could go to auditions. Because they'd let me, because obviously I wasn't like full-time member of staff. So I would do like, remember like theatre and education when you were at school, and someone would come in and be like, hi kids, and do theatre, and you'd be like, oh my god, I used to do that.
Oh wow.
And I did it with 2 amazing guys. They were hilarious. We had so much fun. We went like to all different parts of the country. I loved it because I was in my early 20s, so it was so much fun. But I did stuff like that, and I did some local weather and traffic and travel presenting for Manchester's TV station, so that was fun. And so I did like little bits, but I constantly had to work because I was skint, and I'd just finished uni. I had a massive overdraft, and I was like, oh, this is so annoying, I've never got money. And I was doing something for charity. I was like rowing the Channel Tunnel, but not the actual Channel Tunnel, like the length of it, on a rowing machine for charity. And a company sponsored me, and then it was a marketing company, and they had vacancies, and I thought, oh, I'll go for an interview. And because it was creative, because it was marketing, it was social media, websites, branding, I was like, oh, this is quite fun. So I went and did that for a year, thinking, oh, that they've said I can go for auditions, it'll be fine. And then when I was there, I thought I could do this myself. Like, I knew what I was doing, and I thought if I do it myself, then I can go to auditions, and I've got more flexibility because I'm my own boss. But what happened was, when you start a business, you're so busy. So it was just like, all of a sudden I was just like running a business and stressed and looking after clients and then taking on staff and moving offices and everything. And it was just like, it was weird. It wasn't planned, any of it, but it just happened like that. And I just ended up throwing myself into that business. And then when I had the marketing company, I was looking after a few beauty brands, helping their social media. And again, I thought, oh, now that is what I'd love to do. I'd love to have a product and sell it rather than like a service company. And at the time, contouring was huge. The picture of Kim K come out of all the contour drawn on her face, but the only palette was the Anastasia Beverly Hills one.
Oh my goodness,
Which you couldn't get. It was like only in America you could get it, and then to ship it, it'd cost you like loads of money in shipping and tax.
The actual product.
So I was like, oh, well, wow, there needs to be one in the UK. So I started making one. Mine was made in the UK. I started developing it. It took over a year because everything was made from scratch, so you have to have everything tested and all that side, which was a total learning curve. I'd never done any of that before. I launched it. I just made a little website. I made a little social media. And the thing that helped me the most was my friend Jess, who was on The Apprentice. She knew a few sort of celebrities at the time that were on, like Geordie Shore, Towie, that kind of thing. And she was like, "Oh, well, do you want me to give them a palette and see if they'll post about it for you?" And this was before #spawn, #ad, like all, it was so different. It was like, just give them something, and if they like it, they'll mention it. You didn't go through managers and stuff then. It was just for fun. And people just started posting, and I just started to get sales, because at first I got like one sale a day. And I was like, yay, I've sold one every day this week. And then I was like, it ramped up and ramped up, and honestly within months I was like, I'd paid all my loans back that I'd started, to like get the initial stock. And I was like, wow, it just kind of took off from there. So I ran those businesses for I think 8 years from start to finish of starting them. And I was just too busy doing those to kind of focus on anything else.
Wow. How did you find the staff, and what kind of was the process to finding the staff for your business?
To be honest, I had a lot of apprentices. Because I was young and it was a young business, I didn't have loads of money to spend, and there was a lot of people not in work that were creatives that had graphic design degrees. They had so many qualifications and just didn't have a job. So I was like, well, I can offer you this amount of money or this many hours. Do you want to come in and get experience? And then as soon as I started making more money, I'd give them more hours, and I'd put them on a permanent contract, and so I'd just build it up from there, really. But it was never a massive team. I think the most people I had in the office at one time was maybe 6 or 7. It was because it's online. You only really need like a few people packing orders, a few people helping with the online. So it was quite a streamlined company. It worked really well.
Wow. Why did you decide to like kind of stop them businesses?
It was a mixture of things, really. Sweetheart Marketing, which was my first marketing company, to be honest, I never really enjoyed. I did it because I was just sick of having no money. And having loads of student debt and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I know I can do it. I don't really enjoy it, but I did it. And then once Encore came onto the scene, I was like, right, okay, this is my baby now, because I prefer designing products. I got to be creative, and I got to do marketing campaigns and stuff. So Contour, I really enjoyed it, and then it got to a stage where I'd had a baby. Sort of within 6 months, I'd had a baby, and then I lost my mum suddenly as well. So I had like a life change in 6 months, and then when just something clicks in your head, and you're like, I've not really I was always working. I hadn't taken any maternity leave. I felt really stressed out. I wasn't really enjoying the business for a little while before that, because I was just trying to juggle everything and getting really, really stressed. And I was like, do you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I've somehow fallen into having like this really stressful business when I just wanted to be a creative person, but because it blew up so quickly, obviously I'm so lucky. But I just didn't enjoy it, and I think life is too short to do something you don't enjoy. And everyone thought I was mad, and they're like, "What? Like, why wouldn't you carry on? Make it smaller so you can do it yourself from home." But you can't. Once it's grown to a certain amount, you can't shrink it down, because your orders are huge from factories. Like, I just couldn't have done it myself. So I just said, I'm going to close it. And one of my customers was like, we'll buy the rights for it. We love the brand. Let us buy it, and then we'll carry it on. So a customer of mine, a customer in the UAE, but all the trademarks, all that to it, I transferred it all over to them, and they've carried it on. So they've not really got it back into the UK yet. They've been focusing on their market, because they've got a celebrity endorsement over there. So everyone knows that celebrity over there. So that's their market at the minute. But it's doing well. So you've just reminded me, actually, I need to email them back. And as soon as I started talking, I was like, I'm going to send them a logo, and I didn't. I need to do that after this call. So I'm still in contact with them. They're really nice. But it's weird. As soon as I sold it, I was like, I felt relaxed. And I thought I'll have a year off, which I did with my daughter. And then it was weird. It was like almost a year to the date of me stopping it. I was like, I need to get back into my acting. I miss it. I need to be creative. I know I need to go back to it. And I was in a much better position, because I was desperate before. Like, I'd go to auditions and I was desperate to get them, because I just needed the work, whereas now it's more enjoyable for me to do it, and I'm more confident, I'm a bit older.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of gone full circle, I guess.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I really believe that it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you won a couple of awards for your businesses. How did that
Yeah.
kind of feel for you, like your little baby businesses, and then on
Yeah,
like,
that was good. Yeah, it was really good. It was good to be recognized. And they were just like really amazing moments sharing my family, like really nice nights. I'll always remember, like we had so much fun and stuff. So yeah, it was good. I've still got them upstairs in the office.
oh, that's amazing. So, I just want to touch on quickly about kind of the sexism that you got targeted for your revealing photo on LinkedIn. I saw that on like an article that I was reading when I was doing my research, and I was
Oh,
just,
that's so funny.
what? I was like,
I know, I
it's
know. I make better dress choices now. No, so what had happened is my friend had started a dress company and she actually made me that dress and she'd made it me for that night. So I
I
was
love
going to wear it. Yeah, and yeah, it was a bit low cut, but it was long and it was an awards night. Every woman was in short dresses, long dresses,
it.
backless,
Yeah.
low cut, strapless. Like it was a gown. And it was really weird. I just posted the picture on Instagram and just started getting loads of weird comments. And I was like, oh, this is strange. And I just ignored them. But then it blew up and someone wrote an article on it. Pretty 52, which is part of Lad Bible, which I didn't know about. My friend just tagged me in it and I was like, oh my God, that's so strange. And then obviously the Daily Mail and other people wrote about it. I think it was quite a hot topic at the time, around sort of women in business and things like that. So yeah, it was actually really stressful. I hated it, and like because I've never had anything written about me online, obviously, because I've never put my face to my business. Like I was never like, oh, I'm Charlotte, this is my company.
Yeah.
So then, like when I read all the comments on the Daily Mail, I was like, oh my God, people were savage, like ripping into me. I was like, this is horrible. I would never want to be famous. It was awful. So yeah, it was a pretty horrible time, really. Not nice, but yeah, quite. I can laugh about it now because I'm like, how the hell? My brothers joked they're like the dress that broke the internet because it was just
Yeah.
like ridiculous.
I can't believe it. Literally, when I was reading it, I was like, what?
So weird, like so strange. I think it's sad because when you watch any award ceremonies, like in anything creative, like MTV Awards, the BAFTAs, the Oscars, it doesn't matter what the girls' dresses are like. But then maybe I don't know, there's something different if it's business awards. You've got to. But that how sad is that? Because there's so many creative companies if we all got to dress a certain way and look a certain way. Like
Exactly.
how bizarre.
Like I think over the years, it has kind of got better, but it still hasn't completely
Yeah,
stopped. I think
yeah.
it's such like a man's world.
I know it's mad, isn't it? It is mad. So yeah, very strange time.
Wow, I can't. I just I couldn't get my head around it, honestly. So, what's one piece of advice you give to someone who wants to create and start a business?
I would just go for it. Like I wouldn't if you've got an idea that you're confident in, you'll definitely succeed. Like because I think anybody who wants to be something and will put all the energy and time into it can do it. Like there's just no doubt in my mind. Like I think you can be anything you want to be because all it takes is time and dedication. Like
Yeah.
I've seen people do it. I've seen people with like wasted talent that I'm like, how have you not gone on to do this? But they've just not put in the time, whereas other people who were not as talented or as intelligent have done better than other people just because they've been so driven. So I think if you've got an idea and you want to do it, just go for it because as long as you're dedicated, you'll succeed. I just think anybody doing anything will.
100%.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, literally. Like when I was starting this up, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I got made redundant in the last pandemic, obviously. I done photography and I was kind of like, I should just do it. Like whatever, just do it.
Maybe that was the sign. Yeah, just do it. Go for it.
I was like, I'm just gonna do it and just see where it goes. And Yeah, like it's just crazy.
Good for you. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes you just fall into stuff by accident, and when you look back, you're like, wow, thank God that happened. Like, and I think the most amazing things happen that way.
Yeah, 100%. You don't expect it. So
Yeah.
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 So
Oh,
going back to acting, what made you decide to go back to acting from business?
I knew I wanted to, but I was like scared to tell people because everyone had kind of known me then for like, oh, Charlotte's a businesswoman, ask her for business advice, go to her for this and that. And I used to be like, oh, that isn't really me. And when I wanted to go back into it, I was like, oh gosh, how do I tell people like that's what I want to do? They're going to think, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you just carry on, like, having businesses? But I just really missed it. And I think it's like anything, if you want to do it, I think only creative people can understand that. Maybe you have to do it. Like nothing, there's nothing else I want to do. This is it. And there was just no option for me. And in lockdown, I watched so much film and TV and stuff like that. It really made me think, oh God, I've got to do this. And I actually watched a guy that I know who Sue looks after as well, called Bailey. And he was in, I think it was The Nest. Do you know who
Yeah.
he's in London Fields as well? So I was in a pantomime with him at Solva Juni.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was an ugly sister and I was Cinderella. So we're talking about when I was 18, I'm 34 now.
Wow.
So 16 years ago, that was the last time I saw him. Yeah. And I saw him, I was like, oh my God, that's Bailey. And I was like, congratulations on Instagram. Just watched the show, absolutely loved it. And then I saw that Sue looked after him. Yeah. I was just like, did I just I'd not even got headshots, I was not on spotlight. Again, like I think it's like when things are meant to be. And I just said to Sue, like, oh, I've just come across, you through Bailey. I used to go to uni with him. Are your books open? Are you interested in new actresses? And she was like, let's give it a shot. And I was like, no way, yay. So literally last summer, Owen took my pictures, Owen, who you interviewed, went down to, got my headshots done, got back on Spotlight, and then started acting classes in Manchester, just shot on my show reel, and just decided to get back to it. I mean, in the middle of a pandemic, I probably could have picked a better time.
I know.
You all know the feeling like me. You're like, why do I choose to do this now? But,
Just technology, social media.
Yeah.
What's it like kind of having a talent agent?
I don't know really. I mean, Sue is just like the loveliest person. I just see was like, yeah, like she's so. I think what's really nice about Sue and that's different from other agencies is she just always keeps in touch and is like, I've done this, you put forward this. So it's just like little emails here and there, and you're like, oh, it just feels like I'm never scared to ring her or like, oh, it's this big scary agent and I don't want to bother them or it's just nice just to know that somebody else has got you back and wants you to succeed and wants you to do well. And I think that's what makes a good agent, that you feel comfortable talking to them and letting them know what you want to do, and you just need to find someone that you can work with as a team.
100%. Like I got an email from her every time I do an interview. Like she was like, "Good luck, Amy," and I'm like, "Oh,
oh that is so nice." She's lovely.
Things, just a little bit, kind of like, "Oh my God, like that's so sweet that you're thinking of me and stuff."
Absolutely,
like that. So, how do you think? Obviously, starting from a young person in the acting industry to growing up, how do you think it's changed how they perceive women now?
In the acting industry? I think the whole Me Too movement was huge, wasn't it? I think there's a lot going on. I mean, I obviously didn't, because I haven't obviously done as much work as, some obviously these really famous actors in America that have really experienced what it's like to be, in them kind of situations and working with certain kinds of people. But I hope that movement has made a change and that, it's a more comfortable place for everyone to work. But I think just from looking on television and looking at the kind of casting and things at the minute, I think it's quite refreshing to see a lot of different people being cast.
Yes,
it's not the same looks. They are looking for real people and diverse people and not just models. And I think maybe in like the 90s everyone kind of looked the same. It's like, oh, good looking guys, good looking girls. And I think in the last 20-30 years things have definitely, you know, there's so many different looks and backgrounds and ethnicities and everything on TV now. I mean, obviously more can always be done, can't it? But I think we're going in the right direction, and that I think a lot of casting directors are very like mindful that they want to represent everybody and be fair in the representation and things. But yeah, from what I can see, things are going in the right direction.
Because I was speaking to Chrissy Rock the other day, and she was kind of saying like, when she was younger in the acting industry, like for women, it was women roles like prostitutes and like, do you know what I mean? And now it's kind
Not
of
strong women. Yeah.
now it's like kind of changed a lot since back in the day, which is really good.
Yeah, you're so right, definitely. Even like superheroes and stuff now, there's so many more women villains and
Yes.
more interesting characters for women. You're right. Yeah, that is very true and good for us. Yay!
Yes, women, finally. So, what's your favourite thing to perform in, and why?
I love making people laugh, and I love like entertaining people. So like I love comedy acting. I love when I get a funny script, and it doesn't have to be like haha roll on the floor funny, but you know when there's just like moments that I'm like, oh, that's so fun, or that character, or I can really get my teeth into it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love reading a really good script and thinking of how I can like change the character or make things like come to life off the page. So that's the bit that I love. I just love performing, and yeah, it's weird. It's the only time I don't feel like I forget everything. You know, you're just in that moment. I just love it. Love the feeling of it. I hate watching myself back. Hate it.
Same.
Like, I'll watch it once and I'll be like, yeah, that edit's fine. I'm not watching it again. Like if it's for my show reel, I can't do it. I hate it.
When I'm editing myself, you just hear your voice and I'm like, that is annoying.
And I'll see all these bad habits I have, and I'll be like, oh my God, why do I use my hands so much? Why am I doing this and that? I know.
All the time. And I think you sound different in your head to what you think you sound.
Yeah, I thought I was posh. No, I'm joking. But my partner Ben, I'm not that northern. He's like, Charlotte, your accent, because he's not northern. He's like, you're so northern. I'm like, no. And then when I listen to myself, I'm like, oh my God. Like the first thing my partner's family said when they met me was, she sounds like she's on Coronation Street. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I am quite northern then.
I am. Oh, so you said that you had a daughter. How old is she now?
She's going to be 3 in June.
Oh.
So yeah, she's at like such a cute little toddler stage. She's such a character. She calls Celine, and yeah, she's amazing. She's so funny.
How do you juggle your time between her and your acting?
I think because I've only really just recently got back into acting, I've made a conscious effort to have some of my time.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was just mummy for ages. But I think like having Ben as my partner, having a good partner definitely helps, and saying, you know, I need this time to learn scripts, or I'm going to acting class every week at this time, and that's my couple of hours a week that's for me. And I think whatever you choose to do once you have a child, you've got to make sure, even if it's going to the gym or whatever it is you like to do, having that time for yourself. So yeah, I find it pretty easy to juggle, really. I've got quite quick at learning scripts again, which I'm so grateful for, because when I went back to learning scripts, I was like, oh my God, this is taking me ages. But I think your brain kicks in and remembers to like
that ride a bike.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, I managed to squeeze the time in, like before she go, like after she's gone to bed and when she's at nursery and stuff. So
that's so sweet. Oh. So what so when you go for an audition, what's the audition process like?
Well, it's a lot different now. So before, obviously, when I used to do acting before lockdown, I always did auditions face to face. I'd never done a Zoom or anything like that. So normally I would have got sent a script. Maybe they might say, come in next week, so I might have a week to learn it. And it'd just be a couple of sides, like a couple of sheets of text. And you just perform it in front of maybe one person, the casting director, or a couple of people if it was a commercial. And sometimes you get a script on the day, which was awful because you'd be sat waiting to go in trying to learn it. But now, obviously, all of my auditions have either been self-taped, so you just tape it yourself and then email it them, or Zooms. And it's kind of the same. You get sent the script normally a few days before, and you've got sort of 3 days to film it. I think I prefer doing them in person, you know.
Yeah, I would. To be
Yeah, because when you're filming yourself, you start, like I was saying, you hate watching yourself back,
yeah,
but you have that many versions. You're like, oh, is that one better? Is this one better? Am I overthinking it now? You lose it a bit. It's almost better to have the nerves, go into the room and use the nerves and just do it than
sure.
you've done then. Yeah, then having loads of times to do it, all that on Zoom. I get really nervous sometimes on Zoom because I'd rather have them in person.
Yeah, you can get the feel of it.
Yeah, because when all these faces are just in boxes facing me, you're like, oh my gosh, like it's quite intimidating.
I'm fine, literally.
Yeah, but I think the worst thing about auditions for an actor, and I think everyone will probably say this, is afterwards you're like, yes, I've done it, and then you hear nothing.
Oh
Nothing.
yeah.
That's the worst thing, is that like most casting directors, and because they're just so busy, don't have the time, don't get back to you. And I think that's just the worst bit, because you're just anxious for days. You're like, oh, I haven't got it. Would I have got it? Would I have heard back now? Should I ask my agent? Do I look desperate? Yeah, it's just so annoying because you'll never get feedback, and you'll never, you just presume, okay, I haven't heard, so I didn't get it. And you can put days and days into practicing and rehearsing, and it can be really disheartening that bit after, but you've just got to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, that's so annoying. Like, I can't imagine how annoying that must be.
I know.
Do you kind of ever get like acting like gigs come through and like you're like, no, that isn't me at all? And how do you kind of turn them down?
I haven't, but if I did, yeah, I think now I've got a bit older. I think when I was younger, I would have just said yes to anything.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm a bit older, I wouldn't waste my time on something that either I didn't think I could do a good job on or wouldn't suit around my lifestyle. Because I think once you've got kids and stuff, like I can't go on a touring theatre
No.
thing. So if something like that came in, I'd just be like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I would, whereas before I'd be like, oh, I'll make it work. I think your priorities change and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've not come across anything yet where I think, no, I wouldn't do that. But I guess the time will probably come, won't it, when it does. And you just got to do what's right for you. And I think people would prefer honesty, wouldn't they? And only people who want the job go for it rather than waste people's time.
100%. So obviously you went back into acting. Were you nervous about going back into acting?
Yeah. And when I went to my first acting class, oh my God, I literally was like, I'm not going. No, I'm not going to go. My partner was like, Charlotte, get out the door, you're going. I was so bloody nervous, more nervous than an audition, than to go to acting class. I was more nervous because I knew it'd be 30 other actors that just are looking to see if you're good or not and judging you and themselves against you. And I go to an acting class where, I'm not joking, everybody is good. They are so good. They're all excellent. And the working actors, some of them are, on Hollyoaks and stuff like that. And then in between they come back to acting class, they're all great. So when I went in, I was so bloody intimidated, but I just thought, I've just got to get up and do my first one. And I did an improvisation, so obviously just make it up on the spot. And once I'd done that first one, I was like, okay, I can breathe now, I've done it. But yeah, I wasn't nervous for auditions. I was nervous to almost be like, this is what I can do, how can I improve? I was more nervous for that.
Yeah.
Going back to classes. But I love it now. And I just think you've got to do stuff that scares you, because after you feel amazing, don't you? And like you've really done something great.
You feel like, okay, I've done it now, I can do anything now.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing is as scary. Once you've done the scariest thing, then nothing else is scary. No audition is as scary as that first acting class I had to go to with all them talented people like this. Watching me, I was like, oh God.
Oh my God, that must be so hard. Honestly, I can never do that. Honestly, no. The thought of it scares me.
Me too.
So obviously you're under a talent agency anyway, under Sue. How do you kind of communicate, like through, like when she tells you you've got an audition? How do you kind of keep that communication going?
Well, she'll normally email me any jobs I'm put forward for, and then if I get selected for a job, then she'd ring me and say, you've got an audition, they want to see you. She'd get the line sent over to me for me to learn and just send me the details of what I've got to do, and then sort of go from there. I'll submit it, and then we'll wait to see if we hear anything. And yeah,
And then
kind of
keep your fingers crossed.
yeah.
What are you currently working on at the moment?
Well, I've just finished doing my show reel. Obviously, we're all in lockdown now, so it's so good because you can't travel to do anything, and like there's very limited of stuff that's been made, if anything. So I've managed to shoot my show reel scenes in this lockdown, which got cancelled in the last one, but they've put this new thing in where you're allowed to film now. So I've managed to do my show reel scenes. My acting class is cancelled. Obviously, I can't travel anywhere, as in to do auditions, but you can do Zoom ones. But there's very little at the minute. Like I've had days full where Sue sent me like a page of different jobs, and I've been like, oh wow, there's loads of stuff. And then now it's like the odd one here and there. And I read an article that something like Spotlight is at like 90% less jobs being posted. So if you imagine that over like there's such a small amount of work being posted compared to like previous years at the same time of year. So I'm hoping everything will kickstart back up and I can get some good auditions and get some work this year. But yeah, the pandemic's been a bloody pain for everybody. Everybody.
So annoying. And actually, yeah, so obviously the pandemic has affected you like that, but has it given you kind of different priorities now and kind of given you an aspect of, oh, okay, sit back to realise?
Yeah, I think it's good because it's given me time to kind of, like you wouldn't get as much time to practice, to read, to study, to get like your show reels, your headshots, everything in order. I feel like that's what most actors have been doing. And I've read loads of really good books which have been great, that are really helpful for auditions and stuff like that. So I feel like I've kind of done a lot of prep work, but now I want to do some good auditions now. Yeah.
How do you keep your confidence up during lockdown to do different acting stuff?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, and I used to do this all the time, which is just not a good thing to do not compare yourself to other people, and especially don't compare yourself with other people on social media. It's the worst. Everyone posts I've got an audition, I'm shortlisted, I've got this work and that work. Don't compare yourself, don't look at what other people are doing, just concentrate on yourself, because I just think that is one thing that I've learned, and not to be self-critical. I used to be so self-critical, and I used to go to my acting class, I'd do a scene, the teacher would go, that was great, how did you feel it went? And I go, oh well, I didn't really like this and that. And he'd say, Charlotte, do you ever talk nicely about yourself? Like all you ever do is criticize. Like stop always putting a downer on what you've done. Like, and I just thought, God, yeah, why do I always say, oh, it wasn't that good, or no, that bit was rubbish? So I think you've got to stop being self-critical. Nobody's performances are perfect every time. Nobody's like actors, singers, nobody has a perfect, performance. So don't be hard on yourself, and do not compare yourself to other people, because a lot of stuff you see on social media is bloody crap anyway. People just talk so much rubbish and just big themselves up, or post stuff, and and you can think, oh, everyone's busy apart from me, but it's just not the case. So
like they post their highlights and the good things rather than
exactly. Yeah. And so I would just concentrate on yourself, just try and be better than you were the week before, and just don't, because it's funny, like when I went to that first acting class, I was like, everyone's better than me, they're better at this and that. But actually, I have my own strengths and other actors have their own strengths, and you can't compare one to another. Like some people are great at theatre acting, and some people are great at television, at playing straight. Some people are great at comedy. Everyone has their own things, so don't compare, because most of the time you'd never be cast together anyway. You won't be up against each other for jobs. So just don't even go into that stage where you start comparing. Everyone's unique, which is like the fun thing about acting. You can be anybody, can't you?
Literally, yeah. And everyone contributes something to a different role anyway, so
exactly.
Yeah, 100%. So the last question is, what's next for you, if you can tell us?
Yeah. Well, I hope, a few things I'd love to do. I would love to get some comedy roles. Like that is what I would love to do. I had some really good auditions for some like commercials that were really funny through this casting director. And she told me later she's like shortlisted me for stuff, but then it's always the director at the end that picks.
Yeah.
So I hope, because I do feel like that is kind of my strength, character work, comedy. I hope for me next is that I land some really good acting roles in something like that, something juicy, something funny, yeah, and then I can tell you all about it. So hopefully that'll happen. But in the meantime, I'm going to carry on with acting class and just keep plugging away, be positive, working hard, just like every other actor really, and just hoping it pays off.
Amazing. I'm sure you'll do amazing, and I'm sure I'll be like, oh my god, that's Charlotte. But yeah, thank you so much for talking to me though, and taking the time out of your day.
Oh no, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I feel like all I do though is talk for ages, and like sometimes, you can take ages to answer a question. My partner will be like, hurry up, get to the point. And I think, God, I hope I haven't just done that now. Like, you've asked me a question, then like 20 minutes to answer it.
I love an explanation though, because I think like it just gives an insight into someone's life, and you can actually picture it as well. So no,
I've enjoyed it, and you're a great interviewer. Your questions are very good.
I sometimes think that I've asked too many, so that's why I always kind of like, are these okay? Like just before, is they too long?
I think the good way you do them, they flow the one into the other. Do you know, like I think it works the way that you like structure them. Yeah. So no, I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope I wasn't like too boring or disappointed.
I find it so interesting because I don't know anything about the acting industry. So I find it so interesting to learn a bit more about like the auditions and how you get casted and everything. 100%.
Yeah. So good.
So you enjoy your rest of your day.
Thank you, darling. You too. And thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye.